Welcome to Voices for Democracy, an inside look at our local Democratic candidates. And this evening, I'm delighted that we've got 5 Democratic local candidates running for Charter Review Board. This evening, I'd like to start the questioning with what I know all of our viewers are at home wondering. What does the Charter Review Board do, and who sits on it? So I'd like to start with introductions. And first, we'd like to introduce Ryan Stanley.
My name is Ryan Stanley, and I am running for Charter Review Board District 1.
Jamie.
My name is Jamie Iliff Wilson, and I'm running for Charter Review Board District 4.
I'm Virginia Hoffman-Meketon, and I'm running for District 2, which is the same district as Joe Barbetta.
My name is Brian Worthington. I am running for the Charter Review Board District 3, which is Venice.
And I'm Ray Porter. I'm running for Charter Review Board District 5.
Great. Okay, so now you need to get to my original question, which was, as I know all the viewers are wondering, what does the Charter Review Board do? Brian?
The Charter Review Board, probably to explain that, you need to understand what our charter is. Our charter is the constitutional document that dictates how our Sarasota County government operates. It starts with the words, "We the people of Sarasota." The elected members of the Charter Review Board are the custodians of the charter. They are the ones who review recommendations brought before them by the public and the county commissioners to make recommendations as a ballot initiative to make changes to the charter.
So the Charter Review Board are custodians of our Constitution.
That's right. They have
Great.
a very important role.
We the people respect that and thank the Charter Review Board members for being our custodians.
I think it's important to tell the public what the purpose of the county charter is. The charters, counties were created in the late 60s, so individual counties could make their own rules and referendums to deal with local issues without having to go to the Florida legislature. And this was done on a voluntary basis. So as time goes on, the Charter Review Board members review the charter from time to time and make sensible recommendations in conjunction with everything else that Brian was saying.
So they really are custodians and
Yes.
gatekeepers to justice, actually.
Yes, I look at the charter review document as a fluid document that evolves with the changing needs of our time. And that goes to say why we need to have a new charter review, which this slate is. We are a new charter review because we're in very grievous times with the economic problems. I believe that there's a lot of people out in Sarasota that might have ideas to come to the Charter Review Board to make things better.
Well, that's certainly eye-opening, I'm sure, for many of our viewers. Jamie, what should the Charter Review Board be doing that they aren't doing currently?
I feel that the current Charter Review Board should be meeting more often. I think quarterly would be a better assessment. In the last 4 years, they have made a representation of the people 10 times.
You have got to be kidding.
No, and my opponent, for example,
Just say that again, because I don't think our viewers possibly could have heard that
in the
correctly.
last 4 years, the Charter Review Board has met only 4 times as a representation, or 10 times in the last 4 years.
So what you're saying is our custodians of our Constitution have only met 10 times over
In
the last
4
4 years.
That is correct.
And you're recommending that they start to meet more frequently.
Yes, frequently, quarterly, throughout the year. And to give an example with my opponent, Judd Bodecker, even as a representation on the board, if you're going to be a member on this board, you should be present. He has been absent 3 times out of the 10 and tardy 5 out of the other 7.
Oh, come on. That can't possibly be
It's
true.
on the board minutes records.
He's been tardy 5 times.
5 out of 7 times
and
that he's been present.
he's only shown up 3 out of 10?
He's shown up 7 times.
7 out of 10.
He's been absent 3 out of 10.
Absent 3 times.
Yes.
Well,
over 4 years.
as a taxpayer, that makes me sit up and take notice.
Well, I think it's unfortunate that many taxpayers have no idea that the Charter Review Board exists. And I know that as a slate, this is a problem that we would like to try and rectify. It can be as simple as a page on the county's website that advertises the meetings, that advertises the minutes, that lets people know what's going on the Charter Review Board, so that citizens can feel more comfortable bringing their proposals for changes to the charter to the review board, as opposed to a long petition process.
Oh, very interesting.
I'd like to address the attendance record. The incumbent for my district was endorsed by the Herald Tribune, and one of the statements in that endorsement was that her purpose for being on the board was to make sure that the other board members behave. So I wonder if she's been working on their attendance record or not.
She used the word mischief, or actually the Herald Tribune used the word mischief. Said that that's what we're trying to keep the board from getting into, mischief. And it's funny also, Kathy Layton, who's been the chair of the board for I think the last 4 years, maybe longer, she proposed in 2006 to make the elected Charter Review Board an appointed board. And she has said publicly that she'd like the board to meet once every 5 years. So in effect, she's saying to the public that it's a invalid board. It has no purpose, no meaning, and in effect it should be disbanded.
Kind of makes you wonder why she's running for election, and it somewhat defeats the purpose of a charter amendment, we the people, when the board members that are on the board to represent the people are not selected by the people.
Well, I'm starting to get a sense for why you're all talking about needing a new and renewed Charter Review Board. So I'm curious, because you mentioned just a few minutes ago that you were running as a slate.
Correct.
What does that mean?
That means that the 5 of us as Democrats have decided to run together on a platform of our shared ideas and ideals and values as Democrats and as citizens of Sarasota County.
Interesting.
I was aghast when I went back in the history and researched some of the previous charter review races, when I've seen many of the people who were re-elected to their positions never ran a race, and the incumbent in my district never really won an election. She was never opposed. And I'm very inspired by that, because I believe the Sarasota deserves a choice. And we are here to give the citizens of this community a choice and an alternate voice in a quiet little corner of the county government.
Well, I think that's really interesting, especially on our show, Voice for Democracy, that the Charter Review Board would be an example of how having a two-party system with an equal representation really does need to happen, and how we need to bring democracy back to Sarasota. So Brian, you've been quiet. Let me hear from you what issues you want to bring to the Charter Review Board.
Well, I can't say as I'm going to be advocating any specific issues. The only thing I'm going to be advocating is public input. I want the people of Sarasota to know about us, who we are, what we're doing, and the purpose of our being there. We've all talked about perhaps once a year having a public forum, thank you. An open forum for the people of the public to come out and say, what's on your mind? Tell us what you think you would like to see in our charter. If you see changes that you think need to be made, tell us about it. Right now, the current Charter Review Board practically pushes people away.
Oh, you're kidding.
I attended the last Charter Review Board meeting a few months ago, and a very knowledgeable gentleman talked about perhaps bringing instant runoff voting to Sarasota County like they have in Sarasota, the city. And they wouldn't even consider taking it to committee. They just shot down the idea right from the top. And I just thought it was a shame that a concerned citizen that came to this board could not even be heard and given serious consideration. And
where is the voice for democracy?
Exactly, exactly. So I think that's definitely the top of the priority for me, is to get our people involved, listen to them, and respect their ideas.